7 o'clock, isn't it? There we go. I'll make it 7, so we'll kick in. As you can probably tell, Rupert's caught in traffic and I'm winging it. So we'll go off the first. Any apologies?
Rupert.
Yeah, Rupert, yeah.
Is he coming? Do you need a substitute?
I'm here. You can be my substitute if you so desire.
It could be Lillian.
So, Councillor Richards, any apologies for that? Councillor Wright? I can't see that. Oh, Lillian Baker, yeah, Lillian, no. Okay. Well, Rupert then.
We were expecting Councillor Griffiths to council.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put him a bit further back, which ain't going to be that far back. So, right. Any declarations of interest? No, right. Minutes of the previous meeting, can they be agreed?
I have a query, Chair, please.
Go on then.
I have a query, Chair, please. There are a number of things that are raised in the minutes that I'd like to check whether they've been followed up on or what's happened. And I don't know at which point in the programme that I should be asking that. Clearly not the minutes because they're accurate, but at some point I need to check on things that were raised in there as to whether they've been carried out, because there are actions noted right at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. And the next, Wally's Quarry.
Thank you very much, Chair. So the report before members tonight is the November Cabinet report providing information relating to the preceding 3 months. The data for October is again promising, with further improvements noted in relation to odour. In section 2 of the report, the table shows that the council received 1 complaint in October. In November, to date, this is currently 0. This is supported by officer assessments. In October, 11 spot assessments were completed or recorded in an intensity rating of 0, which is no odour. The air quality monitoring stations, or the MMFs, data again supports this with 0% exceedance of the WHO odour annoyance level. This all points to a very positive situation in relation to odour. The EA, via contractors, continue to undertake works on site to prevent serious pollution, and they are giving regular updates on their engagement website. At the last meeting, it was noted that there had been no reply from the Minister, and a request was made to send a further letter regarding the request for a public inquiry. A response was received from that initial letter on the 18th of September from Mary Krieg MP, the Parliamentary Under-Secretary for Nature. A copy of this letter was published alongside the October Wally's Quarry report to Cabinet, and the response there doesn't support the request for a public inquiry. I'm happy to take any questions or comments in relation to the report. Thank you.
Councillor Rees.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a point around 16.3. I was of the understanding that Adam Jogi MP had said that it would be irresponsible to have an inquiry before the criminal investigation is completed. So you wouldn't wish to kind of jeopardise those being held accountable. But I thought, kind of following that, he had said he would support an inquiry.
So the letter that we sent was following the request at full council that in relation to the public inquiry. Mm-hmm. So it was there. I don't believe there has been anything further from Mr. Jogi in relation to that.
Okay, thanks.
Joe.
Okay, at one point, I mean, I might be saying something that you've already said because I was searching through the agenda for a little bit while you were talking. So please reprimand me and say I've done it, I've said it as I go on. 1.3, it talks about an abatement notice being served on Wally's Quarry, which is quite right, by District Judge Grego. But that now can't apply to Wally's Quarry because they're in liquidation. But normally those sorts of things, and I know nothing about this area of law, I'm just going on what I know from a civil perspective. It would normally be possible for that to be subrogated to whoever takes over from them so that it still applies to the site rather than the individual. Where are we on that? Does that apply? Am I correct? Have we done it? Can we do it?
So in relation to the abatement notice that was served on Wally's Quarry Limited, and it was served by this Borough Council in relation to that. So the Wally's Quarry Limited is in the process of liquidation in relation to that site. So they're going through that process. It isn't finally completed as yet, but the site has obviously been dealt with through the liquidators and has been transferred to the Crown. So in terms of any requirements, then it all falls to the Crown. The land is currently under their control.
I think there's two things for me. I don't know whether that abatement notice is still enforceable because the person it was enforceable against no longer exists. The other thing is, as far as I'm aware, and I did check with Companies House this morning, the liquidation, it actually refers to the 28th of February in this document, but according to Companies House, they went into liquidation on the 27th. I don't know whether that makes any difference at all.
So I think in terms of the abatement notice, you know, like I said, it is served on Wally's Quarry Limited as their legal entity. So it is there. In terms of any breaches of those, obviously in this position at this moment in time, there is the odour is, as I've just reported, very much an improving situation anyway. So I think in terms of those, there wouldn't be any action moving forward. And I think we've put in there that any of our action has ceased in relation to that. The second part, in terms of the dates, I will double check those, but that is the date I believe that they went into the liquidation process. There's obviously a legal process that has to go through in relation to that. If it's the 27th or 28th, I'll have to double check.
It's the only reason I'm being pedantic about it is that I'm aware that things when they are, if there are any awards retrospective and that sort of thing, it can have an impact, and we have to be fairly accurate on dates. And Companies House is usually completely accurate because they're informed by the company in liquidation of the status. And it does say 27th on Companies House. It necessarily just might be worth checking with Companies House. You can Google it, it's easy.
Absolutely. We do follow that anyway. So apologies if it's wrong. I'll double check and make the amendment.
It's me being picky.
Anyone else? Okay. Go on.
At 1.6.3, I'm very concerned that it's, we've asked the Member of Parliament, Adam Joji, for Newcastle and Lyme, for specific assistance to actually get involved and represent us in the government playing an active role in this, and we've had no response to date. Is that still the case?
That is still the case.
Is there anything we can do to prompt a response? Because I have to say, in my book, He is our elected member of parliament, elected by the citizens of this borough to represent them. And Wally's Quarry has been a huge issue for this borough. And I would have thought that that should be uppermost in his mind above all other things, like visiting local businesses and that sort of thing. He seems to be around an awful lot to be able to do that. And I wonder why he can't use his office when he's up here to actually respond to us on something that has been critical for an awful lot of people, certainly living in Silverdale, where the chair of this committee was representing, and also me in Thistlebury ward, and there's a couple of other wards that were affected by it as well. So for him not to respond, I think probably perhaps instead of a nice requesting letter, we could be a little firmer. Just a suggestion.
Thank you, Chair. I think that request originally came via the leader to the letter to the MP. So maybe a similar route back would be through the leader to the MP. If members want us to do that, I'm more than happy to follow that up.
I absolutely would. I haven't really impressed on that because we have no. Press your button, Joan. I think it's important to press that because we have no other source of impact in Westminster other than through our MP, and it would be useful that if he realised how urgent it is and how sincere we are in our reasons for asking for it. So thank you.
Was that a proposal? Because if it is, you need a seconder and then you can vote on it. Okay, so it's a vote to see for a yes first, is it? So can we have a show of hands then for those that want a letter going to our MP via the leader? Unanimously? Yeah. Oh, you're not a voter? Well, it's still unanimous. Right. Any more? Tell you what, when you've done this, follow on to your question on the minutes as well, will you? Because we haven't got the county councillor here yet. So, Joan.
I'm sorry, I was sat in a garage and I got to read all the papers thoroughly. So I'm not sure who I asked this question of, but it's something I feel that this committee could help out on. There's been a lot of focus on the air quality, and I think that's quite right, and it's proper because that's been the main thing. I'm well aware of these instances that have occurred in different areas of the country where it's not just the air quality. We actually don't know what's going on under the capping, under the soil, whether it's affecting the water table. And I just wonder how much, whilst we've dwelt quite properly on the air quality, how much investigation and checking and monitoring and putting right things that were wrong that the Environment Agency are actually doing to what happens subterraneously. And I mean, for want of a better excuse, I did do geography and geology, and I know the impact that you can have on the water table, you know, at university, and you do get quite caught up in it, and I know what can seep down and so on. It doesn't matter how much capping you do on the top. If it goes down there, it's going to get into the water table. It's going to get, you know, back to the water courses and so on. So whilst we've done absolutely the correct thing, dwelling on the impact of the air quality, can we ask the question, how much is going on with the seepage and how much is that going to be checked? And I know they say they put clay in it, and they said they'd done a lot of other things. And Wally's Quarry have been found out in the past to be a little, how can I put it, sparse with accuracy. And I don't know how we would find out that, but I felt that I had to ask the question.
So I can most probably assist in terms of some of the landfill design and some of the regulatory framework in relation to that, but if there's very specific. So I don't know if you want me to try and assist in giving you some advice as far as I can in relation to the water and the regulatory framework for that, or if it's a request that you want me to take away to ask the Environment Agency to provide some answers.
I can't remember to turn this thing on. I'd like to ask the question of the Environment Agency, because then if we ask the question, they've got to put pen to paper and actually answer it. And if they don't give a sufficient enough answer, we can go back to them and probe a little more. I just think it's something that should not be ignored.
Okay, and can I just clarify that's groundwater that you're talking about, not necessarily surface water?
It's not surface water that can
Just
be dealt with, and they are dealing with that according to the last missive that we got from them. It's the subterranean below the soil down to the. They say they put a basin in of clay in, but I don't know how accurate that statement ever was.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nesta, it's just the idea that we've dealt with this, and there could be more damage going on under there that we haven't even contemplated.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that up, and I can ask the question of the Environment Agency for you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Dare to ask if there's anybody else that's got a question. Right. Well, seeing if the county councillor hasn't turned up yet, we'll give him a little bit more time. Joan, what was it in the minutes that you were concerned about?
Sorry. I'm not very technically skilled, so I'm having to surf back up. If we look at point 5 of the minutes, the question was asked about public inquiry, but I think councillor in front of me has actually already raised that point. But if we look a little further on, just before we get to point 6, it says the chair also suggested to reach out to the new minister in charge of waste to ask their position on the matter. The service director for regulatory service responded to follow-up request would be sent to the appropriate minister. Has that happened? If so, have we had a response?
Okay.
Yeah.
So in my introduction, I said that letter was requested because we hadn't had a response from the Secretary of State. In the intervening period, we had that response back from the Mary Craig MP, and that was received in between time. So a further letter hasn't been sent because we did receive a reply back.
Is it a reply that answers the questions that we needed answered?
It answers the question in relation to a public inquiry, but it doesn't support the Borough Council's position in the request for one. So that was published alongside the October Cabinet report, the response was.
Is it appropriate, I don't know, Chair, that this committee actually ask why the public inquiry that we support as a council has not been approved or forwarded or?
You didn't mention that.
Yeah. So the letter is published on the Cabinet report, and that gives the reasons as to why they do not feel that the public inquiry is, they're not supporting that.
Okay.
If you bear with me, I can get that up so that I can read it to you if need be.
Yeah, Councillor Holland, you can put your hand down now. I know you're there.
Apologies, I will get to the right document in one moment.
Giving the county council time to get through that traffic.
So it's one page. Would you like me to read all of it to
Would
you?
Just the pertinent points will do.
So it does say, thank you for your letter of the 4th of August to the former Secretary of State about Wally's Quarry, Newcastle and Lyme. I'm replying as the Minister responsible for this policy area and apologise for the delay in doing so. I was pleased to read Philip Duffy's letter to you of the 20th of August. I welcome the progress that has been made on the landfill site. I have been in close contact with the Member of Parliament for Newcastle and Lyme so that this disgraceful situation is finally sorted and the lessons are learnt to prevent such incidents in the future. DEFRA officials will, of course, continue to be part of the discussions regarding the long-term future of the site. I acknowledge the vote of the elected members of council at the council meeting on the 23rd of July to call for public inquiry and to call on the Environment Agency to protect the residents of Newcastle under Lyme from the risk of pollution or harm, both present and future. My position has not changed in respect of granting a public inquiry since my letter to Councillor Tagg of the 4th of October 2024. The EA has complied with environmental law and has fulfilled its statutory duties in regulating Wally's Quarry and its ongoing management of the site to prevent the risk of pollution or harm. I'm not convinced of the benefits of holding such an inquiry and believe that our efforts are best focused on addressing the problems at the site. Thank you once again for taking the time to contact the former Secretary of State about these important issues.
Oh, Nesta, thank you so much for that. It would seem that the Minister has actually been in charge with the MP for Newcastle Borough Council, and yet it's still a mystery to me why we haven't heard from him when, for a number of times it's been requested. So I'm glad that we're actually forwarding that and as an item. Thank you.
Councillor Holland, you had a question?
Thank you, Chair. I need to say that that response from Mary Cray is the ministerial response. So it is the same reply that the authority would have received had it come directly from either the old or the new Secretary of State at DEFRA. And we can't expect to get a different response from different ministers, however often they shuffle their portfolios. I'm grateful to our officer for quoting the entirety of the letter. There's a snippet of it, perhaps quoted out of context at 1.6.2 in the report, but the entirety of the letter makes clear the government's position, and I think that's why it is so important that this council continues to engage with our local MP, who is a way of getting into or having further dialogue with DEFRA at whatever level in order that we can eventually get what we want to see for our residents, which is some kind of transparency. And while a public inquiry is not a magic bullet, I know we've heard that before, it is certainly something that our residents want to see, and it's something that we've been very clear would be effective in getting to the heart of matters where no other process that's been followed so far has. So that's why it's really important that we continue to press through our local representative in Parliament.
Right. Was that the only query you had on the minutes, Joe?
Some of them have already been answered. Thank you, Nesta. You're ahead of me.
Right. Still not got the county council, so we'll go on to the work programme. I have no idea what you've got on or need. Right, so. So for March, so far, we've got Wally's Quarry again, update report. And these glasses are useless. Environmental strategy update. Is there anything else you would require on that one?
I think when we, sorry.
Yeah, shout out, don't worry about it.
I think when we get responses to the things that we've requested, they probably need to be added to that. Certainly one of those meetings so that we can make sure that it's followed up. So, for example, the engagement of the Member of Parliament, the whole idea of, you know, whether we want to press more for an inquiry. Even if the answer is no again, I think it's something that needs to be an agenda item. So at least there's continuity.
Well, we're getting over. We've requested a letter from the leader, haven't we? So that might be on there. That'll be should be a pretty short meeting then, if nobody's got anything.
But I think, like Councillor Holland said, it needs to have an update on whether we've received anything from the MP.
Yeah.
Thinking about the Basford Gate issue, and the councillor earlier mentioning about pollution and it being an issue within Newcastle, particularly Porthill Bank and obviously Basford Park Road. I've just been to the infant school. What could we put on the agenda? What's happening with pollution and with any of those interventions that the government may or may not be putting in place? That make
That's also a project that I'm involved in terms of the A53 in relation to that. So I can most probably give you a verbal update in terms of that, which is relatively short, really. So a report went to Cabinet over 12 months ago to submit the full business case in relation to the ministerial direction for improving air quality along that route, alongside the joint work that we were doing with the County Council and Stoke-on-Trent City Council. That was submitted to the government through the Joint Air Quality Unit, or JACU. We're still awaiting any response in relation to that submission. So we don't have anything further to report or update in relation to that. So in terms of that project, that's where we are at this moment in time. We're just still awaiting that response to either say, yes, the business case is approved, or no, it's not, and it needs some further work. So that's been over 12 months waiting for that. In relation to general air quality, that is assessed on an annual basis in the whole of the borough. So, and that's showing an improving situation. So those are reported into Public Protection Committee on an annual basis.
Just in terms of the work programme, I'm just wondering whether it may be appropriate for the next meeting, whether we can have some update on the tree strategy. And I'm asking just because the other weekend when we had the wind surges and the terrible storm, there were a couple of trees that came down in the dingle in my ward. Obviously, it's a public place, and it was quite a big tree that kind of came down. So I'm wondering whether we could just look at that again, because residents, it's a main kind of area of concern for residents, certainly in my ward. I'm aware that a lot of the responsibility to trees are to do with the county, but nevertheless.
Yeah, if it's on our ground, no problem in looking at it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Mind you, I think that should give Rupert a fair bit to go on, shouldn't it? Right. Oh, sorry, Joe, you've remembered something.
Yes. I need help in understanding whether this is the appropriate committee for this to come to. I'm looking at the report. It's about page 12, key objectives for this particular report. And I'm looking for Staffordshire Locality Improvement Framework. Aims to enhance access, experience and health outcomes for those people and communities who need it most. Yeah? Are you with me? Key objectives. Staffordshire Locality Improvement Framework. It's a bold subheading. Page 12.
Yeah.
Have you got me, Nesta?
Yeah.
If I repeat, aims to enhance access, experience and health outcomes for those people and communities who need it most. Yeah? And then there's some bullet points of the key objectives. Enhance the overall health and well-being of residents, focusing on preventative measures. Integrate efforts to provide a seamless and effective health and care experience. I mean, I wouldn't quote the others, but my query is come from a number of residents within my area who are elderly residents, some of whom, a bit like me, are techno averse, some who don't have a computer, some who don't actually have a mobile phone, they just have a landline. And it's either the elderly or the people who are challenged either physically or in other capacities cannot go through the new system that has been put in place, which is you have to get on a computer and fill a form in to get access to a GP. The very people that we need to make sure that they are provided for are that group of people. I know there is, for example, something that count, and I know they're terribly busy and they're all off sick and striking and all sorts of things. However, just to get a repeat prescription now, it seems at doctors, you have to make an appointment. That then clogs the system up with people making appointments for repeat prescriptions, which is farcical. They're taking up time when they should be seeing people who are actually ill, who've not been prescribed for. Or it disadvantages the very group of people who need access to their GP more than others. Whether GPs could be encouraged, whether this is something that can be discussed at this committee or not, I don't know. But whether GPs could have some sort of system where they could flag up people who cannot go through this new prescribed computerized get on your mobile phone and book it at 8 o'clock when everybody has a nervous breakdown trying to get through. Or I don't know, but I know that I have certain residents who complain to me that they cannot, and I'm one of them, cannot get through, cannot access. Blue badge holders who desperately need to speak to them. Is there anything we could recommend, or is it a question we could ask of the NHS trusts in the particular areas? I don't know. And I need help from this committee to decide what we should do about it, because I think there's a question needs to be asked there.
Well, I do know the Stafford's Health and Wellbeing, they have regular meetings with the NHS Trust. But you're not the only one. Mine's a clockwork. It doesn't accept apps or anything else anymore. More modern than my Steam one, but yeah, I'm in the same boat. I can't access anything. So they have to keep ringing. I have to go down first, tell them I can't get on it, go home, and then they ring me and give me an appointment. So yeah, the old ways were the better ones for me.
Chair, we're very fortunate in that we can get in the car and go down and do that. There are people who can't do that, who don't have access to a vehicle, who can't get through on the phone, who are not computer literate and can't get through to them. And they're the very people who desperately need to have contact with their GPs. I don't know who to ask about this. So looking at the title of this committee, that's why I'm asking the question now.
Yeah. I got a second. You go first.
I will, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Joan, and I fully understand. I mean, our GPs, and I suppose everybody else is the same now, they're open from 8 in the morning till 6 at night, so you don't have to phone first thing. You can phone any time when it's quieter, and they will still look at it. But yeah, it is a bit of a nuisance because, as you say, not everybody can get online. But I suppose I'm preempting the fact that yes, we'll, if we can ask the question, but I'm fully expecting them to come back and say that there is telephone contact or you can walk through the door, which isn't always appropriate, is it?
Councillor Holland.
Thank you, Chair. It's a shame that the County Councillor isn't here because I have a feeling that Joan's question would be best placed to the representative on that Staffordshire Health and Care Overview and Scrutiny Committee. In relation to the particular programme that Councillor Wheeldon highlighted within the minutes of the county's Scrutiny Committee, the locality improvement framework is something that belongs to the NHS. It's a creature of the local integrated care board, but they themselves do integrate reasonably well with the county councillors who deliver social care, and therefore it would probably be best if the county councillor isn't able to make it tonight, if an answer could be sought from him, or the question that Joan asked, which is very long and very detailed and very important, put to him. And secondarily, in relation to GP access, that again is something that MPs are a lot better placed than this authority to be doing detailed work on. Digital exclusion is really a difficult problem, and they need to bear it in mind. We are told that the government does bear such things in mind when it's developing policy, but that issue of GP access has been a real problem since the pandemic, and the current government's answer to that has been this new system whereby instead of everyone telephoning their GP at 8 or 8:30 in the morning, you now log on to your GP and you end up in the same scrum, except that it's virtual. I imagine it looks a lot like Tron, if you've ever seen the film. But that again, so I think, and our officers will correct me if I'm wrong, that is the kind of question that would be very well put to our county councillor, who is the representative on that Staffordshire Scrutiny Committee.
Joan.
Thank you, Councillor Holland. Beautifully put. Could we then pass that on as something that we could, in his absence, we could forward the question, Nesta, to the county councillor to say?
As you were saying it was being typed and it's being sent to him.
I'm in awe of the people sitting at the front there. Thank you so much.
Just on that point, I think I've certainly requested it in the past, and I think that was the whole point of getting the portfolio holder, the representative from the county, to be here, because I think, at the Scrutiny Committee, we generally just get this very brief overview, which really doesn't tell us anything at all, really. So I think that was the whole idea behind it, wasn't it? Anyway, so we could ask the questions that, this committee wants to ask.
Right, well, it's been sent or being sent.
I was just going to say, Chair, that obviously Councillor Adcock is our liaison with the committee, so it's a shame that he's not been able to make tonight's meeting. But yes, I agree totally with what's been said by the members, and we'll make sure that the message gets back and the issue can be picked up either at the next meeting or somehow in the interim. Yeah.
If it is
We'll go through the chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we are. It'll go through the chair, not only Joe. Rupert said 10 minutes. You've had 20. Go on, Joe.
I have concerns. If I look at page 12, Community Safety Partnership Action Plan, 23 to 26, it's got 5 bullet points. Gotcha? It's at the bottom of the page. Community Safety Partnership Action Plan 2023 to 2026.
Oh, this is on the work program.
Yep. No, it's on the report thing. Page 12. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, if I look at those partnership action plan 5 bullets, it's all in percentages. And it's reduction of crime, vehicle crime, numbers increased by, serious violence reduced by. I'm a great one for finding out where the evidence came from. And I always worry about percentages. Because percentages, you can have a percentage of a small number and it's tiny. You can have a percentage of a large number and it's still tiny. The figures are much better than percentages. You can actually see what the impact is, whether it's small, medium or large. I'm just asking the question is what's, as long as there is some, what's the evidence behind those statistics, which actually, looking at them, look very impressive, but actually numbers-wise mean nothing.
Can I just say that those are, does it make a difference that these are South Staffordshire figures?
It does. It's not us.
Is it not?
No.
But
Yeah, but this, absolutely, yeah.
In Newcastle and everything else.
Yeah.
Why don't we have one?
Do we have an equivalent?
Would seem not.
Or did they just not report on this
And
particular?
I hate percentages. They mean nothing. Exactly. So I'll rephrase the question for you, Nessa. Would it be useful if we had something like that? And if so, can we have some evidence-based? Ouch.
Through you, Chair, we previously reported, I think, this document to this. We previously reported this document, our document, to this committee. Off the top of my head, I don't know whether we had percentages or not in there, but if we can take the matter back, I'll report it to the relevant service director and we'll get you a response.
You're very kind, thank you. Oh, I've gone green. Why have I gone green? It's sick of me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Read.
Sorry. Yeah, I think we had an update with these percentages at the last meeting. I think it's referenced in the
meeting. The
meeting.
question then about percentage. I hate
Yeah.
percentages.
Yes, you did.
I hate percentages.
Councillor Holland.
I'd hesitate to make your meeting any longer, Chair, but only to reflect on what's just been said. I think it's good news that in any part of the county, crime is falling. The reason percentages are useful is because it enables cross-comparison between different areas, because some areas have a higher crime rate than others, but it's the direction of travel that's important. I think our officer is quite right. These are the sorts of statistics that are reported to us, and statistics like that go to show what an excellent job the police are doing, an excellent job the Police and Crime Commission is doing, and what a marvellous job our portfolio holder for community safety and wellbeing is doing, so long as those numbers are coming down.
I think, Joan, you're about as old as what I am. Therefore, we used to go in numbers rather than percentages.
With percentages, you can't always tell that the numbers are coming down, with great respect.
Right.
Hold on. And with respect, they do get that data from the police.
Right.
Well, then it must be accurate, mustn't it?
It doesn't look like the county council is coming. We've done everything on the agenda. So, and a little bit more probably. So our next meeting is somewhere on there, isn't it? Sometime in March. Oh. Yeah, of course it's on the work programme, isn't it? At the bottom. I'm blaming Joan. I'm blaming Joan for all this finger work you're doing.
Next 9th of March.
9th of March. Well, did I leave my mic on then? So, I hereby close the meeting.